There are so many, like billions and trillions of living organisms, including the animals, plants, and bacteria in the whole world. To recognize them very easily and to know their properties like their habitat, their feeding structure, their movement, etc., we divide the living organisms into five kingdoms. And today we are going to know about the five kingdom classification of the living organism. So I have placed some of the living organisms into different columns. Now, if we look closely and observe very minutely, we can see that the organisms which are having some similarities are present in the same column, and the organisms which are different from each other are present in different columns. Like the pigeon, peacock, crow, ostrich, all the organisms that are listed in the first column can fly. They have feathers. They have a beak. So we call them the birds. So the birds are placed in one column. The dog, the cat, cow, bear, etc. They all are mammals, and the mammals are placed in a separate column. So the system of arranging living organisms into different groups on the basis of their similarities and differences is known as classification. The five kingdom classification is something that is present in the slide. So the living organisms are actually divided into five broad kingdoms. The first kingdom is kingdom Monera, then it is kingdom Protista, the third is kingdom Fungi, the fourth is kingdom Plantae, and the fifth one is kingdom Animalia. So as we move from kingdom Monera to kingdom Animalia, we move from very simple organisms to very complex organisms through the evolutionary pathway. So first up is kingdom Monera. The kingdom Monera actually contains the unicellular and prokaryotic organisms, which are bacteria. So bacteria are present in air, soil and water. They are basically omnipresent. They are also found inside the bodies of human and plants and animals, like inside our gut or intestine. There are many bacteria present. The body is composed of only a single cell. As I have said earlier, they are unicellular organisms. Since they are unicellular organisms, they are only visible under a microscope. And I have also said that the kingdom Monera contains the prokaryotic organisms. What does that mean? That the nucleus is not organized and not enclosed by a membrane. It is called nucleoid. So they are called the prokaryotes. Also, they feed by absorption of food. They do not have chlorophyll. They cannot trap the sunlight. So they are not autotrophs, but they are heterotrophs. Few bacteria which live on other organisms actually harm that organism. And so those bacteria are called the parasites. Now if we want to know how a bacteria looks like. So bacteria has a proper cell wall. The cell wall can be made up of lignin or cellulose or other types of carbohydrate. And outside the cell wall there is a protein layer, which is the most outside layer, which is called the capsule. Now inside the cell wall there is a cell membrane, which is a lipid protein membrane, and inside the cell membrane there is the cytoplasm. And the cytoplasm, since the bacteria is prokaryotic, does not have any membrane bound organelles, but it has scattered ribosomes, and also it has a nucleoid or scattered DNA material. The two very peculiar structures that are present in bacteria are the pilus and the flagellum. The flagellum is used for movement of the bacteria, and pilus is used for reproduction in bacteria. Depending on the different shapes of the bacteria, bacteria can be classified into four groups. The first one is called the coccus. Who are the coccus? The bacteria, those have the round, spherical or ovoid shape, those are called the coccus. Example is Streptococcus pneumoniae. Streptococcus pneumoniae is the bacteria that causes pneumonia. Then there are rod-shaped bacteria, and those rod-shaped bacteria are called bacillus. Example is anthrax bacteria. The third type is the spirillum. So these bacteria are spiral shaped, and example is Leptospira. And the fourth one is called the Vibrio. These bacteria are comma shaped, and the most known example is Vibrio cholerae. So Vibrio cholerae bacteria is the bacteria responsible for causing cholera in humans.